welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. I appreciate your patience here this morning where sports meets life here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. We appreciate you being here. The Great Lakes Honda City Studios here every single Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And why Great Lakes Honda City? Why not? They are the place that I've gotten my vehicles for over a decade. And I cannot thank them enough for the safety of my vehicle, as well as making sure that I have what I need if I have to bring it in, if there's something going on with a tire, whatever it may be. I appreciate Great Lakes Honda City for the quality of vehicle and for the time that they spent and for the people that are there that have cared for me and for you over the years. So thanks to Great Lakes Honda City. You can find out more about their vast array of vehicles that are available, new and used, by going to greatlakeshondacity.com, and you can visit them at 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard Monday through Saturday for sales and service. So let them know that DT sent you their way. I appreciate y'all for heading out there very much so. On today's broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, of course, it's a Friday, which means that we have our trio of signature segments that are going to start off the show. We will start things with the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt. Then we'll move on to lead, learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. And that segment is proudly presented by the great team at Chick-fil-A Cicero. From there, we will jump into the Top Dog of the Week announcement, where I will announce a person, an organization, a team that I would like to honor this week, proudly presented by K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. And then from there, we will have our conversation with Seamus Shanley. Seamus Shanley coming from Syracuse Orange football history and one of the local alumni for Syracuse football, as he played at West Genesee. And those of you that have known my show for many years know that I have spent many years with the West Genesee Wildcats doing broadcasts on-site on location at the Wildcat Sports Pub. So big-time shout-out to West Genny and big-time shout-out to the Wildcat and to all the work that we get to do over there with the Wildcats. And, of course, happy to have Seamus Shanley on the show here today. We're going to be discussing a lot of different things, including his thoughts on the new football performance center that I got to go to the ribbon cutting for last weekend. We'll also get his take on Fran Brown, alumni engagement, and the transfer portal. So all that's coming up here where sports meets life. So let's get things started with the annoying moment of the week right here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora.
Dan Tortora proudly brings you...
Is that for real? Are you kidding me?
The annoying moment of the week.
I really, honestly, I don't know how to respond to this.
Presented by Carvel DeWitt, 4322 East Genesee Street. It's what happy tastes like.
Do you have to be that crazy? I guess so. The annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by Carvel DeWitt here on today's broadcast. And you know, I've had a lot of time to think about this, and there's different things that have happened over a week where you kind of sit and say, okay, you know, that was annoying that I saw happen on the plane, or that was annoying that I saw happen when I was at, you know, a certain place when I was on my trip and whatnot. But then there's things that kind of have an overarching annoying moment, right? And one of the things, because I'm very self-reflective, I like to look into things, and I'm drawn to things that help me become a better person, help me understand things more. I was looking up some stuff this morning, just kind of on my phone. And being on my phone this morning, I found that there's different things that were out there, you know, different messages that were out there about just how people see things when people have arguments, right? And we have arguments with our parents. We have arguments with our girlfriends and our boyfriends, our husbands, our wives, our fiancés, our kids, our friends, our neighbors, total strangers. Arguments happen. And arguments are really unfortunate. But there was this thing I was just watching before I came on the broadcast. And it was about two people. They had a ball in between them. There's a ball on the table. and they were asked what color the ball was. And so one person on one side said the ball was black. One person on the other side said the ball was white. Well, they can't see the other side of the table. So they can't see if this ball is actually white on one side, black on the other. You know, like a half moon cookie, right? If you looked at only one half of the cookie, you'd say a half moon cookie only has vanilla frosting. The other person would say a half moon cookie only has chocolate frosting if you couldn't see the other side. And it made me think, how many times when we're arguing with people do we see the other side? Do we want to see the other side? We're so caught up in how we feel, how we were affected, what we were thinking about, how it made us react, how it affects our past, how it connects to our life, that we don't look to the other side. You know, we might say something that we don't think is a big deal. We might do something that we don't think is a big deal. But to that other person, it is. Because here's the thing. Here's the kicker, folks. And this is what I learned in life. We are all a product of our past. Now, that doesn't mean you have to live in the past, and it doesn't mean you have to let the past define you. You're a product of your past. You are a product of everything you've been through. So somebody who grew up and had like two parents that are amazing, right? Two parents are incredible. They're in love. They're still together this day, 40 some odd years later. They might handle life and an argument with their significant other differently than someone whose parents got divorced when they were 5 years old and they just remember their parents fighting with each other. You know, I've talked to different people over the years, and there was a person growing up I was told to stay away from. And oh, they're a bad kid. Totally bad kid. Horrible person. And then that person told me their story. They told me what their mom did to their dad, what their dad did to their mom, that they were locked up in this house with these people. And at 8 years old, he saw this and he saw that and he saw the other thing. And he said, instead of thinking I was a bad kid, why didn't somebody help me? Why didn't somebody get me out of that house? Why didn't somebody tell my dad to stop? Why didn't somebody tell my mom to stop? You know, everybody looks at what I became, but nobody looks at what I saw as a child. And it made me stop and pause, because the reality of the fact is, if somebody tells me don't be with someone, don't talk to someone, don't this, don't that, do whatever, I want to make up my own mind. I have the right to do that. And if I had listened to the overwhelming amount of voices that said don't talk to this person, I would have lost a friend. And there's been 2 times in my life that have been confusing, frustrating, scary, and without asking, that person showed up. Years apart. At least 8 years apart. That person showed up. 7, 8 years apart. Reached out and said, what do you need? Are you okay? What's going on? And so when I look at life and I look at arguments are annoying to me. Because if I love you, if I care about you, I don't want to fight with you. And to be completely honest, I don't even want to be right. I just want you to respect me, and I want to respect you. And I think in moments, people say things they don't mean. People do things that they don't mean. And some people can become fixated on that because in the moment, you know, it sucks to hear that. I've had people say things to me that are really, really hurtful, and I gave them an opportunity to apologize, and they didn't. And then I asked them again, and they didn't. And it hurt more every time, and it still hurts to this day. And you look back on those relationships and you say, why? I mean, I had a friendship of over a decade. The last time I saw that person, and at the time I considered this person to be my best friend, At the last time we saw each other, they wished bad on me, wished bad on my children, wished bad on my future. Now, keep in mind, folks, I was just talking, walking and talking. I wasn't even talking at the point that this stuff was coming to me. I was dating somebody at the time. I was talking to her. I was walking. A lot of the walk, I was being silent because I was frustrated and I was upset. And I didn't want to cause a fight. You know, this person had rushed me through my meal, had rushed the person I was dating through my meal, had totally ignored her and disrespected her. I didn't appreciate that. And then they started wishing bad upon me, wishing bad upon my children, my future children. And then they lied to my face. And it was years of kind of passive-aggressive abuse, but they lied to me. And I gave them an opportunity to say that they lied and to say, my bad. And I wasn't happy with it, and it was going to take me time to get over it. But when I gave them the opportunity to say that they lied, they didn't admit it. And I knew that they did. I knew that they did. And then within a couple weeks, I double-checked with somebody who had no horse in the race, so to speak. And I asked them, and they're like, no, this is exactly, because they work for the same company. Like, no, this is what it is. And then they responded and said, why? I hope somebody didn't lie to you. I hope somebody didn't do this. I was like, actually, they did. And they're like, well, I hope they were like, you know, an acquaintance. I was like, nah, that's my best friend. So, and that was the last time we saw each other. That was the last time we spoke. So some people, when faced with adversity, some people, when faced with they did something wrong, they run. Right? They run. And if I've learned anything in life, when people run away from you after they hurt you, they don't love you. It's a hard thing to hear, but it's true. If someone hurts you, whether they meant to or they didn't, and they don't apologize, and they run away, they don't love you. They don't. And I don't want you to waste time on those people. You know, it took me a while to get over that. It took me a while to get over that friendship. But knowing, you know, this person doesn't love me, they don't care about me, they don't care about my feelings, you got to let it go. And so this morning when I'm looking at this argument of is this ball black or is it white, the person that says it's black is standing on this side, the person that says it's white is standing on this side. They can only see their side. And isn't that how some arguments go? You can only see your anger, your past, your frustration, your worry, your doubt, your paranoia, your questioning. You can only see your side of the ball. And you're not listening to the other person. Right? Some people, when they're hurt, they don't want to hear that you're hurt. When they're frustrated, they don't want to hear that you're frustrated. But you can't have a relationship with anybody, business, friend, family, romantic, if you can't listen to where the other person's coming from. It's not a tit for tat. If two people love each other and they're arguing, it makes perfect sense that they're both frustrated. They're both upset. Now, sometimes is it one person's fault? Yeah. Sometimes it is. Sometimes somebody wakes up in the morning, you know, you give your girlfriend a kiss, you brush your teeth, and she fights with you. Okay, and you're like, all I did was wake up and brush my teeth. But then there's other times where it's both people. And I think in life, when you're used to fighting, you fight. When you're used to chaos, you're chaotic. I had to check myself. I was so used to, in relationships, romantic relationships, I was so used to there being problems that when I got into a new relationship, I created problems because I was so used to them. And I had to grow out of that. And Isaac, who I talk about a lot here on the show, and you know from Tortora and Alfred, he checked me. And he was like, look at you. He said, look at you right now. You're not doing the things that you used to do. You're not worrying like you used to worry. You have more confidence. And you're not going back to those places. But you used to go back to those places. And when you're around someone who goes back, because he would say to me, he goes, who does this person remind you of? And I would say, me. And he goes, right, that's what you used to do. So it was an observation that I had grown as an individual, but also an observation that the person that I'm dealing with maybe hasn't had that lesson yet. Maybe hasn't learned that lesson yet. And I think that when we're in an argument, we expect somebody to think like we think, feel like we feel, but we're always looking for someone to help us. We're always looking for someone to make us feel better. We're always looking for somebody to take care of us. But how often are we saying, maybe they're hurt? How often do we want to say, let me ask them how they're feeling right now? Yeah, I'm upset with them. But are they upset with me? I think so many fights are not only started, I don't want to say started because sometimes things happen, but fights last way too long in life. They just last too long. And it's because we never want to see the other side. Look at Congress. If you're Democrat, you're not supposed to listen to a Republican. If you're Republican, you're not supposed to listen to a Democrat. So what if the President of the United States, Donald Trump, right now, put a baby in the middle of the room and said, Democrats, would you save this baby? And the Democrats said, yes. Does that mean that the Republicans wouldn't save the baby? Just because they can't agree, right? Some things, whether you love or hate each other or you're in the moment of fighting, you got to agree upon. Any relationship you're in life, that person on the other side, even if they're mad at you, they should want you to be healthy. They should want you to be safe. They should want you to be happy. They should want you to be loved. They shouldn't attack you. They shouldn't be mean to you. And if they are, they should apologize. And when they apologize and they show you that they mean that apology, you either believe them or you walk away. But you can't tell them that you don't believe them and that you're not going to accept it when they have shown you how much they care. Life is so I have seen fights in my family, people that I love them both. And they just couldn't see the other side. They just couldn't see so many fights in life are kindergarten. They're stupid. You called me a name. You said something I didn't like. You looked over there when you should have looked over here. You did this, but you didn't do it fast enough. You did it, but you didn't do it my way. Stupid things will ruin friendships. They will ruin romance. They will ruin business. I stopped working with a business the day that I was on the phone with the business. I remember exactly where I was sitting. I was holding my phone. I was on speaker. And the person said to me on the other line, Don't you know? Don't you realize? I own you. After I heard those 3 words, done. I own you. Not even God treats me as a slave. And God can own me. God created me. But he chooses not to. So life is complicated. And I tell people this all the time. Love isn't hard, people are. Right? We tend to not see the other side. And it's an annoying moment for me because I was reflecting on it this morning and I was thinking to myself, I'm talking to people sometimes, and I feel like they're so hung up on what I said or what they think I meant. And that's the other thing too. People will hang up on what they think you meant versus what you meant. They'll focus on something that you said in the moment rather than how you actually feel. Because listen, we're all going to say stupid stuff. We're all going to say hurtful things at some point. Right? You push a person far enough, Gandhi's going to swear. And it's about not pushing those buttons. It's about checking yourself. See, when we're in arguments with people, we want so badly for them to grovel, for them to beg, for them to be sorry, for them to do better. Instead of realizing maybe we triggered them, maybe we pushed them, maybe we said something, maybe we did something. We're always focused on the other person has to this and they have to that, instead of saying, what can I do? What can I do better? That's how relationships succeed. That's how relationships excel. When you can sit down with someone and say, I said this or I did this and it hurt you, and you also hurt me this way too. And it doesn't take away what I did, but I need you to know this, because if we're going to move forward and you know your pain and I have understood your pain and acknowledged it, can you acknowledge mine? When you love someone, it's not about winning. It's not about who hurts more. It's not about who needs more. It's not about who wants more. It's about a team. You get a promotion, they win too. Because they're proud of you. You're part of a team. They get a new job that they love, you win too. Because they're happier. And that should make you happier as a couple, as a friend, as a son, as a daughter, as a parent. My parents, I call them up and say, Mom, I got a new partnership. My mom's excited. She's not going, good for you. She's excited because I'm her son. When I call up my dad and say, Dad, this is what the coach said to me, da 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 da, he's excited because he's connected to me and he's happy because I'm happy. We have to work on those things together. Being happy for each other. Being excited for each other. Looking out for each other. Because life is hard. And if you find someone who may sometimes say something stupid, or may sometimes do something stupid, but ultimately loves you with everything they got, listen, if my friend years ago was truly my best friend, when they did all that hurtful stuff toward me, they would have made it right. But they didn't. When you care, you do everything you can. And some people accept you and some people don't. But when you care about people, you have to be willing to see their point of view. You might have a tough day, but maybe they had a tough day. You might have a tough day, but maybe they had a great day. If you come home from work and you had a terrible day and that person that you're coming home to got a promotion, don't bring them down. Because if they love you, they're going to throw their arms around you and hold you while you cry because you had a tough day. But then you got to throw your arms around them and celebrate them because they had a great day. There's no one person in a relationship that's more important. And that's where I think we get lost in arguments, is you argue for so long, you don't even remember what you're arguing about. You argue for so long, you don't even, why are you still mad? And there's so many people in the world that don't apologize, that if you have someone in your life that apologizes to you and truly means it and shows it every day from the day that they made that mistake, You either accept that person back into your life or you let them go, but understand that not everybody's going to apologize. It doesn't make it right. But not everybody apologizes. And if you have someone who hurt you, that sucks. But if they apologize and you really truly love them and you can work with that, then work with that. But I have seen so many things in 39 years of people that just fight and they ruin good things. They try to ruin each other. They try to ruin people around them. And you look at that and you say to yourself, if you're my teammate, you're going to piss me off. But if I love you through it. And I talked to 2 teammates last night, and the guy said, sometimes we're laughing together, we're having fun together, we're the thickest of thieves, and other times we hate each other and we fight with each other. But we always are together. We always find a way. And I don't think those boys understood when they said that to me, that that's how life is, right? You're going to butt heads with people that you love. I butt heads with my mom. My mom told me a long time ago, you're the closest person to me. And my mom and I will butt heads. Is that because she doesn't love me? Is that because I don't love her? Or is that because we feel safe going to each other? And we feel safe in those moments, yelling and screaming and this and that. It doesn't make it right. But we know that we got each other. We know that we're allies. So sometimes we take advantage of that. And you can't. No one is going to be perfect. People will make mistakes. But there's a difference between a hurt word said in a moment that you didn't mean and something that you really meant and you stuck by. There's a difference between saying something stupid in the moment and actually acting on that thing. So I challenge myself, I challenge you, that today, if you're in an argument with someone, try to see where they're coming from. Try to see what's bothering them. Without thinking that, oh, well, now I don't matter because I'm focused on you. No. You don't have to be the center of attention to matter. You don't have to be the one talking to matter. In a relationship, it's not about you. It's about us. And I had to learn that the hard way in my past. It's not about you. It's about us. And if you're in a relationship and it's not about us, then get out. Because a relationship that's not about the both of you is not a relationship. If somebody wants to make the world about them, then they should be by themselves. People that only think about their feelings, their thoughts, their worries, their wonders, their hopes, their dreams, their wants, their needs, but nobody else's, they belong alone. But somebody who says, you know what? I really want sushi tonight. Babe, what do you want? And she says, babe, I can't have sushi tonight. It's been bothering my stomach, and as much as I love it and as much as I want you to have it, it just really bothers my stomach. So if we could just not have it tonight and maybe have it tomorrow or maybe have it next week, I'd really appreciate that. Because as much as you want it and I want you to have it, I want to enjoy dinner with you and I don't want to feel sick. Well, if a woman says that to me, okay. Why would I want you to feel sick? But I've been in plenty of scenarios where I've been on the other side of it. Hey, babe, I can't eat pizza tonight. I can't eat it. It's bothering my stomach. I don't know. My stomach's been weird. And then they say, well, I want some damn pizza. And then they not only eat the pizza, they eat it right in front of you and they don't even care. Because they're selfish. we have to be willing to look out for each other. We have to be willing to forgive each other, and we have to be willing to be open to the fact that we're not always right. And just because we're hurt doesn't mean we didn't cause hurt. Just because we're focused on what's going on in our life doesn't mean that things aren't going on in other people's lives. If you want to be a human being that interacts with other human beings, you have to stop being selfish, and you have to think about other people. Because everybody's got stuff going on. Everybody does. I don't have kids. So someone who does have kids might say, well, you don't understand. I'm busy. Blah, 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 blah. And I would say, okay, you have kids, but do you own your own business? A few years ago, when I took care of my grandmother, I don't have children, but I had my grandmother. Sometimes taking care of my grandmother was like taking care of 3 kids. So I wouldn't go up to somebody with kids and be like, you don't understand my life. And that's the thing that a lot of people say, and I had to learn not to say that, is that so often when people are arguing, they say, you don't understand my pain. You don't understand my life. You don't get it. You never could. And the funny thing is, you're going to say that to somebody someday who has either had a similar experience that you've had or the same experience that you've had. And you're going to say it, and that person may tell you, they may not, but they're going to think in their head, man. You know, somebody could say to you, I was in a relationship, and this person was horrible, and they did da-da-da-da-da, but you would never understand. And then you turn around, and you're like, no, actually, I went through that 3 months ago. And those people just pause. Sometimes they keep going and sometimes they pause. But the reality of life is we all have stuff. We all have stuff. Even the nicest people that you meet in passing have stuff. I met a guy who was on a trip a couple days ago, and this man and woman were sitting next to us, and the guy started telling me his story before I left. So my mom's talking to his wife, I'm talking to him, and he tells me his story, and he tells me things about his story, and you're thinking, this guy is nice, you know, he's really open, he's really kind, he's smiling, and then he told me something about his life, and I was like, oh my goodness, I would have never thought that based on how you're acting today. So we never know what people are going through. We never know what's going on. But I'm going to ask you, the next time you're in an argument, or if you're trying to get through and past an argument, just think to yourself, truly, this person keeps telling me they're hurting and I keep fighting them because I'm hurting. Why don't I love them? And why don't I trust that they're going to love me? And if that person loves you through your pain and you love them through theirs, congratulations. You found a great partner romantically. You found a great friend. You found a great business to work with. If someone can reach across the table and say, I'm going to take care of you, I'm going to put my arms around you, and I'm going to trust that you put your arms around me, then we're getting somewhere. I don't have anybody in my life that doesn't put their arms around me, because I'm going to put my arms around you. But the people that I put my arms around that were like, screw you, I'm going to let you hug yourself because I'm not helping you, those people are gone. Those people are gone. We can stop so many arguments if we just cared about the other side. So care about the other side. It doesn't mean you're not hurting. It doesn't mean you're not confused. It doesn't mean you're not having a rough one. But if you love somebody, show them. And in the Bible, it says that love is not self-seeking. Love is not all about you. It's not all about what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, what I need. It's not self-seeking. It does not boast. It is not proud. It does not keep a record of wrongs. Here's a crazy thing about fighting. And my parents know this, and I think one of my friends know this. I forget. Like, if someone's arguing with me and it's something stupid, I forget about it. I used to never forget about it, but I forget about it now. It's just gone. Like if we're arguing over like something really dumb, like why didn't you get this thing in the cabinet and why didn't you do this for me and da 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 da, like how come you got the olives but you didn't get the peppers, you stupid idiot? Like if somebody said that to me, I forget that. I might remember like this person needs to get their act together, I'm out, but I forget the stupid argument over pickles and cucumbers and just ridiculousness. If someone tells you to take a left and you take a right, and they freak out for a minute, because I don't hold on to little stupid stuff. Because life is happening. So if you hug me and your warmth feels different, if you talk to me and you look me in the eye and your eyes feel different, it seems different. If when you show up and you support something of mine, you do it without me asking you to. I pay attention to when love shows itself. Fights are going to happen. Okay? The devil doesn't want people to be together because a house divided cannot stand. The devil doesn't want two people in love to stay in love. The devil doesn't want two friends that are thick as thieves to stay thick as thieves. What does it say? When two people in any place come together, that's a threat to the devil. It is God's parade to have two good people bond, but it is the devil's demise. So the next time you feel energy trying to repel you from something good in your life, maybe don't think it's God. Because when love comes along and it's patient and it's kind and it's not self-seeking and it doesn't boast and it doesn't delight in evil, but it delights in the truth. And it's persevering, it's healing, it's trying to, right? If somebody doesn't love you, you get in a fight, they leave. If somebody doesn't love you, you get in a fight, they're gone. They're gone. But when somebody loves you, they might leave for a second, come right back. They might not leave at all. Understand that life is so difficult that if you find love and you have love and you know it in your heart, stick with it. Stick with it. Because there's no guarantee in life that if you throw love in the trash, that you'll find better after. Be good to each other. The annoying moment of the week. See the other side. Just see the other side. Seek to understand and not just to be understood. All of the answers to everything that we need in life are in the Bible. Isn't that insane? Written over 2,000 years ago. Everything we need is in the Bible. There are things in the beginning of the Bible that I have read that I thought to myself, how in the heck would somebody this far back in time be able to give me advice knowing that the world was going to do this, that, and whatever to make me feel this way at this moment? How could God possibly know what to say to me in page 20 of the Bible? But he does. If you want to know what love is, search the Bible. If you want to know what forgiveness is, search the Bible. If you want to know that you're supposed to seek to understand more than to be understood, search the Bible. If you want to know that you've been given 2 ears and 1 mouth because you're supposed to listen twice as much as you speak, search the Bible. The Bible is not a quote at Kohl's on a napkin or a pillow. The Bible is God's word to humanity. And I'm sure God is beyond frustrated that 2,000 years later, we haven't gone to the one book that has it all. We're always looking for answers to life. Well, why don't you open up the book? Because they're there. Be good to each other, be kind to each other, and be willing to learn. We'll be right back here on Wake Up Call inside of the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
All right, you need to come out here and get yourself the Brooklyn Pickle. I was talking about this with one of my buddies. I was like, yo, there's no better sandwich in the state of New York than the Brooklyn Pickle. And now that I found out that they're going down to North Carolina, we are taking over your taste buds everywhere you are, wherever you're going to be. You need to get yourself out to the Brooklyn Pickle. Pinehurst, you just realized that you found yourself the best sandwich shop that you're ever going to have. This is a glorious moment. It's a blessing to your community. You're welcome. Brooklyn in the house, baby. Go over to the Brooklyn Pickle. You already know what it is.
You heard the man. Head to Brooklyn Pickle Pinehurst on 1788 Old Morgantown Road in Southern Pines, North Carolina. And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. It is now time for Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver. Proudly presented this acronym from Chick-fil-A Cicero, Jim Sikowski, and the team at Chick-fil-A Cicero. There's Chick-fil-A and there's Chick-fil-A Cicero. And they, to me, are a step above because of Jim Sikowski, because of the entire Sikowski family and all of the workers, the team members, everybody there, the leadership group that they have at Chick-fil-A Cicero is truly something special. And that's why I'm honored and privileged to say that not only do I work with Chick-fil-A, but that I work with Chick-fil-A Cicero, the first ever Chick-fil-A in Central New York. Today's topic for Lead, control your mind. Such an easy thing to write and feeling like an impossible thing to do. Control your mind. Well, Dan, how? How can I control my mind? It's always racing. It's always all over the place. I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, Dan. How do I control my mind? Well, it's hard. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort. Why did I pick this topic today? Well, those of you that know, last week I had to not do a show. And I always do my broadcasts. So people were like, where are you? Are you okay? Is everything all right? And there was a lot of concern. And I appreciate that concern. And I'm very humbled by it. Very humbled by it. My stomach has been going through something for the last couple of weeks, and it's been bothering me. And I was on a plane. And my stomach started hurting on the plane. And I had to mind over matter. Now, if you asked me to do that as a kid, I don't feel like, I know I wouldn't have thought that I could. I never thought I could control my mind as a kid. You know, somebody would hurt me, I'd think about it. I'd get fixated on it, get stuck with it. Somebody would say something mean. I wouldn't let it go. I would hold on to the bad stuff. Bad things, bad deeds by others toward me. I just think about it. Drive myself crazy, drive myself sick, drive myself nuts. And then I worked on my mind over these last few years. And I said, I have to be able to calm my own self down. If my parents aren't around, and my grandparents aren't around, and my friends aren't around, I have to be able to be okay. What if it was just me on a planet full of zombies? I have to be able to calm myself down or I'm going to die. I got to be able to calm myself down. And so I'm on this plane, right? And on the first plane, my stomach was really, really hurting. So on the second plane, because by the time I walked from one terminal to the next, I went to the bathroom and then I had to get on the flight, like they were already boarding. So I get on the plane, and not only am I on this plane concerned because my stomach's still hurting, but I'm going to be on the plane for about an hour, and I'm on the inside seat. So there's a girl that I don't know that's sitting next to me. So if I got to run to the bathroom, I got to jump over this woman, right? And then I got to hope a bathroom's open. So I sat on the flight, and I just focused on my brain. I focused on my mind telling my body, you're okay. You're going to be okay. You're going to relax. You're going to stay calm. Nothing bad is going to happen. You're not going to have to get up. It's all going to be okay. Now, it takes years to say those words and to mean those words and to feel those words and to believe them. But it is never too late to control your mind. It is never too late to teach yourself how to have mind over matter. It's never too late. And I talked myself down. I had pain in my stomach. I was nervous, uncomfortable, in somewhat of pain. And I didn't know what I was going to do. So I talked to myself. I breathed. I took a breath. And in my mind, I just spoke to myself. In the past, I would say, God, do this, God, do that, God, make it go away, God, 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 God. And then I said to myself, well, I think maybe God wants me to learn how to. You know, they say when you ask God for patience, does he give you patience or does he give you an opportunity to be patient? When you ask God to heal your family, does he heal your family or does he give you all an opportunity to forgive each other and move forward? So I feel like when I've been asking God for years, heal my mind, make my mind work for me, let me control my mind, let me be okay, mind over matter, da-da-da-da-da. Was he just going to snap his fingers and say, okay, your mind's fine now, you're not worried now, you're not paranoid now, there's nothing bothering you now, you're not second-guessing now? No, he gave me opportunities to learn. He gave me opportunities to not have the same habits. He gave me opportunities to not be paranoid. Or to be paranoid, work through it, right? He gave me an opportunity where I could be paranoid. Now, are you going to do it or are you going to be better? See, God doesn't help you gain anything by giving you something you asked for in the moment instead of teaching you how to provide it for yourself and help others. Does God really want to just give you flowers because you asked for them? Or does he want to teach you how to plant? Does he want to teach you how you're supposed to put them in the ground, how much water and how much sunlight they're supposed to have? So not only will you have flowers, but that you can teach that, you could take the knowledge and wisdom that he's given to you and you can give it to others so that he can have flowers all over the planet that he can look at and smile and be grateful that his children listened and they did something beautiful. So many times in life we ask God to do something for us instead of asking him to teach us how to do it for ourselves. Not that he doesn't matter. He's not trying to erase himself, but a good teacher teaches. What would a teacher be in school if every time there's a test, they gave you all the answers? Okay, kids, pop quiz. By the way, here's all the answers. But that's what we ask God to do. God gives us a test. We ask for the answers. What does a good teacher do? They give you the knowledge and the wisdom. They tell you where to look in the book. They tell you what to look up. They tell you what to focus on and what topics. And then you're supposed to prepare yourself for the test. And you never know when it's coming. You're supposed to prepare yourself for the pop quiz. God doesn't read the book for you. You have to read the book, and then the teacher gives you a test on the book. If God is the ultimate teacher, why do we ask God for the answers to the tests that he gives us? If a teacher gave us the answers to the tests that they gave us, there would be no point in going to school. We would gain no knowledge, no wisdom. We would literally just copy, and our brain would be the same that it was when we walked in the room. God wants you to evolve. God wants you to grow. He wants you to learn. He wants you to be able to ad-lib. He wants you to be able to deliver on your promises to yourself and to others. And to him. Why do you think I call this segment LEAD? Learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver. God is teaching us every single day. When you ask God for something, instead of giving you that thing, if you say, God, give me love, he's just going to put it in your heart. Force somebody to love you because you asked for it. The next woman you see, that's her. It's not how it works. If you say, God, I want to find that right woman or that right man for me, God is not going to plop them in your lap. He is going to prepare you to be ready for when you cross their path and they cross yours. But it's on you to be prepared. God will teach you the lessons. And that's why some people like me would say, God, why did I have all these bad relationships? Why did I have all these abusive, mean, cold, confusing, ignorant, illogical, irrational relationships? Because I need you to know the paths to not go down, my child. I need you to know the people to not waste your time with. I need you to, not that they don't matter, but to not be involved with that. I have to show you. I have to teach you. You cannot gain knowledge and wisdom by sitting. God, I'm 15 years old. I want to have my wife at 20, and I want to have my first kid at 25. And God goes, okay. No, God said, you want to have the right person? All right. I'm going to show you a bunch of people. And I'm going to show you a pattern. And that first person you dated, she's going to come up 3 years later in a different body. Same habits, same personality traits, same volatile, abusive behavior. Will you date it again? Okay, now you dated it again. Okay, now I'm going to throw you a third person that has those same bad habits. What are you going to do? When we ask God for something, he molds us to be prepared for that thing. He doesn't just give it to us. That's not how God works. And God would not be a good teacher if he gave us the answer when we asked for it. We have to take the test. You think I became a business owner because God said, here's everything you're supposed to do? Or did he present me with relationships and people in my life that helped to guide me? I still had to listen. I still had to know who to listen to and who not to listen to. God did not build my business for me. God gave me opportunities to build my business. And he gave me avenues, and I still had to decide which way to go. I still had to decide if I was going to be an LLC or a corporation. I had to decide if I was going to listen to the person that was helping me. I had to decide what my logo was going to look like. I had to decide what I was going to put it on. There were so many things. I had to decide what software I was going to use, what computer I was going to buy. God didn't say, hey, buy an HP. by this one with these specifics. I didn't have a dream, and God in my dream wrote down everything, and in the middle of the night, while I was dreaming it and God was giving it to me, I wrote it all on a napkin and then woke up and it was all there. And then I went to Best Buy and I handed them the napkin and they gave me the computer that God told me in my dream. That's not how life works. But no matter how old we are, we still think it should be that way. We think that life should be that way. I ask God for something, he gives it to me. If he doesn't give it to me right when I ask for it, well, then what the heck? Right? God, tell me what to do. The moment that you ask for something, God starts to answer. What do they say? I think it's a Bible verse, but it says, as soon as you prayed for it, God gave you an answer. And I would say, yeah, okay. And you would say, yeah, okay, because how many times have we prayed for something and we didn't hear some booming voice say, this is what you're supposed to do? But as soon as you asked for it, God gave you an answer. And the reality of it all is the answer comes when it comes. And you have to listen in order to have the answer. You have to listen. And sometimes 100 people will tell you one answer and one person will tell you a totally different one. And sometimes the 100 are right and sometimes the one is right. It's not about quantity. It's about what you trust. It's about what you learn. It's about what you know. And it's not shame on God when we don't learn our lesson. It's shame on us. Because if God has taught you something and you're not listening to it and you're not learning from it, that's on you. If you keep making the same mistake over and over again, stop blaming God. That's a you problem. It's not a him problem. So, as we move forward in life, we have to learn how to control our mind. We have to learn how to calm our own selves down. Because if my brain was not developed, if I had not gained knowledge and wisdom over time, if I had not listened to God over time, if I had not worked to be better over time, if I had my same bad habits and was in my same rut that I had been in when I was in high school, then trying to talk my stomach down and tell myself I was okay wouldn't have worked, and I might have gotten sick on the plane. So that's reality. The fact that I could talk my stomach and my body through an hour-plus flight and tell myself through my mind that I was going to be okay and I could calm myself down and give myself peace and put myself at ease, that was a sign of growth. That was a sign of maturity. It was a sign of learning. And it was something that helped to protect me in that moment. It was a moment in my life where I realized that God taught me something and I actually listened and I learned. So I would say that to you folks. Is there something in your life that you weren't really good at, that you weren't doing good at, that you weren't taking care of yourself with, but now you are? Because if you are, congratulations. If it's working, congratulations. If you can now lean on yourself, congratulations. It doesn't mean that we don't need the love and support. It doesn't mean that God doesn't matter. It means that you have evolved to a place where you don't need anybody to make you feel better, to help you calm down, and to help you get to where you need to be. I am grateful that my mind right now can calm me down, give me strength, and put me at ease when it was the thing that was driving me nuts years ago. Those wins in life we need to hold on to, because the evolution of us is what we should be paying attention to and helping others evolve once we learn how. This has been Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by the terrific team at Chick-fil-A Cicero. Today's topic, control your mind. We'll take a step aside for a quick, fast break. In the queue, we got Seamus Shanley, and we're about to announce something, but I'm not telling him what we're about to announce because it involves him and it involves his family. So he's going to have to sit and wait. It's coming up right after this.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the Whole Frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. He kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside the Great Lakes Honda City studio. Seamus Shanley about to come on to the broadcast, but not before I do something that he doesn't know about, but it involves him. And that is the Top Dog of the Week. Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by the wonderful team at K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare is on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. You can see it right off of Bridge Street, and you can also see it from the highway and coming off of Erie Boulevard. K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, the place for your dog to go when you need some help during the day. Any size dog, any type of dog, you could bring them over to K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare. And for peace of mind, they do check on the temperament of each dog. They not only want your dog to feel safe, but they want dogs around your dog to feel safe and all of the owners to feel safe dropping the dogs off. So there's an attention to detail that goes above and beyond, and you can get more information by going to K-9KAMP.com. You can also call the daycare by calling 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110. Well, guess what? I'm going to bring him on the screen while I do this here. Mr. Shanley, who comes to us from West Genesee and Syracuse as an alum. He's going to join me picture in picture right now. And what could I possibly be doing when I say the top dog of the week? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. My top dog of the week for this week, not only Seamus, but the Shanley family. I'm going to tell you why. over the last few years, I have gotten to know Seamus. And I've gotten to know his dad, gotten to be around some people in his family. Obviously, I got to meet his wife before she was his wife, and got to be around Seamus before he became a dad. In the years that I've known Seamus Shanley, he has said a lot of things and done a lot of things, never asked to. He's shown up. He's been there. He's been consistent. His messages are kind. He always seems to know what to say. And he's been a very good friend, a very selfless friend, a very honest friend, and somebody whose love and support means a lot. It's come from his family. It's come from him. And his father showed up to my 21-year broadcasting anniversary at the Wildcat. And his father stood up. Now, his dad is older than me, right? His dad is someone I respect. His dad is an elder to me, right? But when he came to the show, when he came to the event, I went over to shake his hand. He got off his chair and he stood up. He said, "Dan, I am here to represent the Shanley family. I hope you're not disappointed, and I hope it's okay. Seamus couldn't make it. He tried to. He wanted to, but I hope it's okay." I said, "Mr. Shanley, I don't even know what the heck you're apologizing for. Of course I'm happy that you're here." So I want to honor the Shanley family today, not because Seamus is on the broadcast, but because there's never been a time where they haven't shown me love, support, respect, kindness, generosity, and they give me far too much credit, and I hope to live up to it someday. So my top dogs of the week, Seamus and the Shanley family. And with that being said, I welcome Seamus to the show. How you doing, buddy?
How you doing, Dan? I appreciate the kind words. It truly means a lot to not only myself, but our family as well. And I don't think you realize how much of an impact you've had on me personally, but my family as well. And the world definitely needs more people like you, brother.
Well, again, I appreciate your kind words. It's something about, it's just how you are, right? They say that people have an aura, people have an energy about them. And you've just always seen a lot in me. And sometimes when I struggle to see things in myself. And I just want to thank you for that, because I consider you and your dad and your family to be blessings from God. And I hope that you know that. I mean, there's good people in this world, and there's people that you feel truly blessed to know. And you're definitely one of those people, Seamus.
Yeah, it goes both ways, brother.
So with that being said, Mr. Shanley is here with us today. The beard is back. I've seen him beardless. I've seen him with beard. So 2 questions. Why is the beard back? And is Alyssa okay?
The beard's back, just was feeling it. And my wife's not too thrilled with it, but she accepts it, I guess you can say.
Now, why right now did it come back? Because, you look back at your old football pictures and there's the beard, and then we saw you post football get rid of it. So now you're looking football ready again. Why is the beard back?
Yeah, it's something, change it up a little bit, and it's funny you say that, because a lot of people mention that to me, especially my old teammates and my buddies that I grew up with. They're like, "Oh, this is football, Seamus," and it's like I said, it's just spur of the moment thing, and decided to go with it.
So, with this looking more like football Seamus, is there any thoughts that football Seamus, even if it's just with family, that maybe we'll see you on a sideline, maybe we'll see you coach it up a little bit? Are you getting a football itch again?
I'll always have that itch, and I don't think it's so much about football. It's the lessons that football teaches you, especially the young men and girls that are involved with the game of football now in our community. The game of football has taught me, like I've told you numerous times, and you're obviously been around for a while, Dan, thankfully. But the lessons that the game of football teaches you that you can carry on with you for the rest of your life, you'll never lose that itch and that competitive spirit. But again, it's the stuff that goes on behind closed doors that you'll never lose that itch for.
And it's funny that you say that because I have not admitted this publicly, but I'm going to say something to you. I mean, we're only talking to the world. We're only up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and we have other countries listening. So I think it's safe to say this, but I've been getting an itch because I played basketball most of my life. And like you said, it's not necessarily the sport, it's the lesson. And it's the idea of helping people. It's the opportunity to spread life lessons, to make a difference in someone's life. And I've been getting a sense for that as well. I've been getting something inside of me saying, like, I just want to help. And so when you talked about behind closed doors, all the things that people don't see, what's the greatest lesson that you've learned through sports that didn't happen on the field?
The adversity side of it, Dan. Just stay in the course, no matter through the highs and lows. Especially with my time of playing sports, it's easy for people to see the highs that sports brings, but people don't see is the struggle that you go through individually or even as a team. I strive myself of being as consistent with everything that I can be. And like Coach Schaefer used to say, is control the controllables. I can't control, right? I could not control the outcome of a play to an extent, right? In terms of the X's and O's of football. But I can control my mindset. I can control waking up and what is my mindset going to be to attack the day. Like you said, as Seamus Shanley, as a father, as someone that loves to engage in our wonderful community, as a husband. So I would say being consistent and just staying true to yourself.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, going through that adversity. People don't like going through adversity, and I think when you're growing up as a kid, you're like, well, what the heck? Like, why am I going through this? And you don't want to. And then sometimes you grow out of that. Sometimes you become an adult and you say, okay, adversity is a necessity of life. Some people still don't understand that, but without adversity, you're not Seamus. Without adversity, I'm not Dan. Go into that a little bit deeper, that the thing that we run from and we don't like is actually the thing that makes us who we are.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, me personally and my family, and my siblings, we've had some adverse times as families growing up, and every family has. And that's part of your story. That's part of who I am. Is taking those experiences growing up, whether it be through sports, through family, through personal experiences, and turning that, like you said, turning that into a positive. Yeah. Being able to learn from that lesson and engaging with the community, and hopefully someone that's going through something similar, you can basically touch upon your past experiences and help that individual overachieve or realize, hey, it's okay. It's okay to be knocked off your pedestal a little bit, but 2 steps back, 1 step forward mentality.
Yeah, and there's people that go through life, adversity happens, they let that define them, and they're kind of stuck in it, right? So bad happens, bad happens, bad happens. So when something good happens, they push it away. They repel it. What would you say to those people that want good in their life, but only know bad, and that when good comes, they say, no, I don't want it because it's going to turn bad? Because there are people that will do that, business-wise, romantic-wise, friendship-wise. They want good, but when they get good, they try to make it bad. What would you say to those people that are repelling good things?
I would honestly simply just stay the course. That is part of your journey. The bad is part of your journey. You might not see it when you're living in it. It's hard to. As individuals, when you're going through an adverse time, your mind automatically wants to go to the negative. That's just and that's just who we are as humans. But like I said earlier, control the controllables. Your mindset, you can control your mindset. And when when bad turns into good, like you said, Dan, that's the sign from above that you've made it. You've weathered that storm, and now it's time to move forward with positive vibes, right? And again, using those adverse times to be able to help write someone else's story.
Yeah, I mean, in the game, you and I have talked about don't let a loss beat you twice. In the same respect in life, don't let a bad relationship, a bad experience, a bad job thing hit you twice. How have you learned to not let a loss beat you twice? How did you learn that, hey, bad relationships, I meet Alyssa, I'm not going to push Alyssa away because of what I've been through. Hey, bad friendships, I'm not going to push away, my guy Amari because of what I've been through. How did you learn to not let a loss beat you twice?
I just had that. I have that never give up mentality, Dan. And I like to think that everything I do, I don't like to succumb to the norm, which maybe it is, and depending on the situation, maybe it is normal to give up or to go take a couple steps back and be like, all right, I kind of weather the storm in a different light. But at the same time, I use my past experiences. My whole career up at SU was the definition of adversity.
Yeah.
And we can touch upon that. But in terms of life, I truly believe that everything does happen for a reason, and there are certain things that happen to you that are signs. I'm very blessed to be supported by the people that I have in my corner, both family and friends like yourself. And that doesn't, for me personally, that does not go unnoticed. And I can't be more thankful. But at the same time, I know Seamus Shanley isn't Seamus Shanley without the support from my family and friends and the people that are surrounding me.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, and I send that back to you, and I'm very, very thankful to have the energy that you bring into my life. You said that being up at Syracuse, it was the definition of adversity, your career, and you said you would touch upon that. I'd love for you to get into that.
Yeah, I was not going to accept no, Dan. I came in under Coach Marone, and I was very blessed to be given the opportunity to attend Syracuse University and be a part of that football program. I came in undersized. I heard it all. I was undersized. I was never going to play by both the community and my teammates, which it wasn't necessarily negative, but it's that competitive nature in you. I know some people they harp on, especially athletes, to not pay attention to the media in regards to the negative on a certain individual or player. I use that to fuel the fire. That's why I always looked, and it wasn't because I was trying to boast myself when there was something positive. I was more or less looking for the negatives to fuel the fire and prove to myself that I can do it and prove the community wrong. Like you said, Dan, you've been following my journey. I was a kid from West Genesee High School, and we've touched upon this in the past that upstate New York football especially doesn't get enough credit, right? So I was a young local kid coming in, just trying to make a name for himself as someone being a part of the team at the time. And I further met some wonderful people along the way. Coach Hicks, he was honestly, when I was as a freshman, he was probably the one that truly inspired me to keep going. He believed in me right from the onset of me getting up there. He was very honest with me. Um, Again, being an undersized lineman, especially for my position, he inspired me to keep going, be dedicated to the grind, I guess you can say. And then, more importantly, just be a good teammate, be a good individual, do the right thing. And I was able to overcome some injuries. And again, my senior year was more or less like we just touched upon, going through adverse times in life and reaching the end of that tunnel. That was exactly, like I said, my football career, going through the grind early on and then getting a chance to start for a Power 5 conference school in Syracuse my senior year.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, going through all of that and hearing all of that, you said something that is almost never heard, which is, I went and looked for the negative. I didn't look for the positive, I looked for the negative. I wanted to know what you're saying about me that I can't do, because that would fuel my fire. I'm not looking for everybody to rub my shoulders and say, "Oh, Seamus, you're amazing," and that's going to make me feel good. I want you to tell me I can't, I won't, and that's going to push me. It's funny that you say something like that, because when I was in high school, it was like, I'm going to bully Dan. I'm going to make him not nice. I want him to shut up. I don't want him to speak. And I said, isn't that funny? Because now I speak for a living. So why did you go toward that? Why did you go toward the negative? Why does that fuel you? Because most people are afraid of it. They're terrified of it. It upsets their stomach. It gives them headaches. It makes them paranoid and just all over the place. Why were you the opposite? Why are you the opposite to say, no, tell me I'm going to suck at this. Tell me I'm going to be bad. Tell me that I can't, because that's going to make me better. Why is your fuel usually the things that empty the tanks of other people?
I think it goes based off my past experiences. Everyone has their story in regards to going through, like I said, going through adverse times and trying to utilize that to fuel yourself to move forward. I've always loved, and I kind of essentially have the mindset that the thought of someone being better than me at anything drives me nuts. And I understand that everyone has their flaws, right? And everyone has their strengths. But at the same time, I use the negative again to help myself move forward, because again, I know my capabilities and I know what my strengths are. I knew what my weaknesses were, and I knew what I brought, but more importantly, I knew what I brought to the table, and I wasn't going to be denied that opportunity.
I love that, and I appreciate it, and I respect it. Speaking of opportunity, the new football performance center is providing so much more than what you had at Syracuse. You had like old benches and like high school lockers and all this stuff. I mean, now they have climate controlled NFL style locker room. They have a barber shop. They have pools that are right there for them, and that the ground can rise and lower itself. They have this nutrition, big old cafeteria. They have a video gaming room, places to just kind of sit and hang out. And the one thing that I feel like is not being spoken about enough, and I'm going to put these pictures up, every single unit has their own room. O-line has their own room, D-line has their own room, safeties, corners, so on and so forth. Everybody's got their own room. I think that that's incredible that you're going down this hallway and there's an O-line room that features a bunch of historic O-linemen at Syracuse, and it's just a meeting room for the O-linemen. It's not like, here's the conference room, O-line's at 10, they get out at 10:45, D-line comes in. It's like, no, everybody has their own room. Like, what can you say about the new performance center? And what can you say to the fact that, you know, the big old boys, right, the O-line gets to kind of hang out in their own digs?
No, well, first off, like I said, I was up there last week. speechless in terms of the facility itself. Um, but again, I think Coach Fran nailed it right on the head when he was speaking last weekend for the NIL meetings. Is that you look around? He's like, this is yours, right? To the alumni. He goes, I he's like, I have the privilege of coaching here, but before Fran Brown, there was still Syracuse football.
Yeah.
And being able to walk those halls, and yes, our facilities weren't as nice when I was there. They were still obviously nice, but at the same time, just being able to walk through those halls and think, I lived it. I lived it. I lived the dream of playing for Syracuse football. And no matter near or far, whether you were a backup, whether you were a starter, whether you're an NFL player, it doesn't matter. Whether you were the athletic trainer, like everyone has had a part of building those walls. And I think it was awesome and truly inspiring to hear Coach Fran say that.
Yeah. Like you said, everybody being a part of it. Right outside of his office, there is a mural of Ben Schwartzwalder, Coach Mack, Paul Pasqualoni. And to say, like, hey, right outside my office, I'm giving tribute to other head coaches. What does that mean to you? Because when a coach takes over a program, sometimes, like, okay, it's all about me. It's not about anybody else. Like, I'm erasing history. Literally every day that he walks into his office, there's two different entrances. If he comes in the one entrance down the long hallway, he's walking into his office that is honoring other coaches that are not him. What does that mean to you?
It's someone that truly will never, ever forget where he came from. And he has the utmost respect for what Syracuse University truly means. The football program and at Syracuse University athletics as a whole has had some amazing people come and go throughout the entirety of the program. But at the same time, it's almost like you're passing regardless of the situation, you're almost passing the torch.
Yeah.
And again, the couple times that I've spoke with Coach, he truly, truly understands that right now I might be holding the torch, but you're holding on to this so-called torch with me. You helped have that small part, right? Individually, but collectively, alumni from the past rather. You helped build this. You helped build this up. And he goes, I want you to continue to build this up. And again, it's really awesome to see, especially with a lot of my past teammates and past players not having the luxury that I have, being a local kid, to be able to go visit and go up there and say hi to the guys, be around the coaching staff, and whatnot. It's good for them to see that as well. That, you know what, you might live in California, but you matter to us.
Well, and you brought up something that has been extremely important to me, and I've talked about for over a decade, is alumni engagement. How absolutely ridiculous it is that Syracuse football alumni were not feeling welcome at Syracuse, where they helped to build the program. So, like you said, I can go up and I could talk to the coaches, I could talk to the players, I can go to practice, I could go tour the facility. What does that mean to you? That, like, it wasn't like that 3 years ago. It wasn't like that 2 years ago. I mean, let's be real. It hasn't. I mean, Shafe did some things, and Shafe's staff did, because I still have people come up to me like, "Oh, Tim Lester used to come this. He used to run this clinic, and da 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 da," and Joe Adam, and so on and so forth. DeAndre, but there was a stretch of time where Syracuse football alumni were coming on my show in droves, especially during COVID, and saying, like, Dan, we don't have a voice. Nobody's listening. So the fact that you can even go to campus and be on campus and talk to the players and talk to the coaches, what does that mean to you? Because we have to acknowledge the fact that Fran Brown opened the door that other coaches were not opening.
Well, first and foremost, I think in terms of it speaks volume to the coach that he is, obviously, but more importantly, it speaks to the volumes of who he is as a person. You can't fake who you are and then turning on the coach mode. Yes, there are different things, but overall you can't fake that. In regards to the welcoming of alum, it's awesome. I said my first time I went up there, I spoke with Coach Fran for a couple minutes before a spring ball last year, a spring practice. And I was blown away. He just met me, and he's like, "Hey, do you have any kids? Like, what do you do for a living, this and that?" And then we just started talking, like genuine, like didn't even talk about football. And he just told me, he goes, whenever you want to come up and be around us, you're always welcome. The door is always open. And that was, like I said, I was blown away, and it was really, really awesome to hear.
Yeah, and like you said, he said it, and he said that a year ago, but do you feel like that's been genuine, that to this day you feel like you can just go up there?
Absolutely. Like I said, I was there last week. I went up there to say hi to Coach Hicks, who will always be one of my favorite guys. And again, we've talked about in the past. I'm very thankful that he's being taken care of the right way up there. But more importantly, I was up there and I was meeting some of the new coaches, and I met Coach Williams, the offensive line coach, and same thing. The thing that's very consistent is that every single one of them is like, "You're one of us."
Yeah.
Without even having to come out and say it, they're like, "Whenever you want to come up here, whenever you want to come to practice, the door's always open for you." And I still talk to my past teammates all the time, and for them to hear that too, it's like, oh wow, that's awesome. I'll be able to bring my kids around. I'll be able to go up there and visit some of the guys and feel welcomed.
Well, and that's the thing, is it's a lot different of a story than a story that I heard a few years back when a player went up on campus, brought his wife, brought his daughter, went to the door, and they told him he wasn't welcome. And he had spent hours in the car telling his wife about all his memories, and his kid was so happy, and then they went to the door and they refused to let him in, and he was like standing there with his family. So, to see that difference is huge. Now, we talk about family, Seamus. The portal has messed with the family culture, the family environment, the family landscape of collegiate athletics. How do we address family when you can play spring ball, practice, go through the whole thing, and then at Syracuse, as well as at other places, leave? You got a quarterback in Tennessee that went to the college football playoff, and he left Tennessee. Mm-hmm. You got a guy that Fran Brown named the captain, one of the captains of Syracuse football, Trevor Pena, and he's gone after spring ball, didn't even play in the spring game. So how do we address family when name, image, and likeness and the portal have good elements to them, but are also being used to essentially make everybody a free agent every year with no connection to coaches, teammates, schools, education? How do we keep the family alive?
That's a topic that has a double-edged sword, Unfortunately, the times we have the portal, you have to adjust to the times. And for some of these kids that understand that only 0.1% of people from college go play in the pros, it's you understand it somewhat to a degree as to why they're looking for the money aspect of it. But at the same time, I know me personally, just because when I played and just having that old school, I guess, mentality that it's hard for me to relate, especially when, again, like we touched upon earlier, what happens behind closed doors with essentially your brothers, right? That family aspect that football brings, and for one to be able to go through the grind, this and that with your teammates, and then the next day being like, "Oh, I'm done. I'm going in the portal." It's obviously there's a huge problem with the portal itself, and that's for the NCAA to figure out. But in regards to Syracuse, I guess my mindset is you either want to be here or you don't, and that's how Syracuse has always been, especially back in the Big East days, right? Back in the Doug Marrone, McPherson days. It's either you want to play it in the Northeast or you don't. And if you don't, then unfortunately, and I think that's from what I've seen so far, I think that's the mentality that Coach Fran has is like you either want to be here or you don't. And if you don't want to be here, then good luck.
Right. Nobody's going to force you to be here.
Yep.
We got a lot of things to talk about and a lot of conversations to have in the future. But before that happens and before I welcome you back, we're going to play rapid fire to round out today's broadcast. You get to ask me the first question.
What is your I guess I've actually been meaning to ask you this. What is your favorite thing about this coaching staff coming in, or obviously been there for a year now with Coach Fran?
That they welcome me, that they talk with me, that the bureaucracy that is up on that hill is no longer affecting me because Fran decides who he wants to talk to and the coaches decide who they want to talk to. And I think they know who I am and I know who they are. And so the building of relationships, I think I've been on one side trying to break through the wall, and now Fran's on the other side with his staff breaking through and looking at me and going like, we're going to take this wall down. Mm-hmm. So I would say the thing I like the most is that this staff chooses who they want to talk to instead of having it dictated to them.
Awesome.
My question back to you, if you could mentor anybody on the team right now, who would you pick and why?
It's a good question. I don't think it would be anyone individually, I guess you can say. I would love to go up there, especially with the offensive line room they have and the talent that they have coming in.
Yeah.
I would love to essentially not only share my story, but more or less connect with them to be like, I understand what you're going through. I understand the bumps, the bruises, the pressure, right?
Yeah.
Look at what happened last year when if McCord got hit too much during the games, the first people that they blame is the offensive line.
Yeah.
I understand the pressure of having to perform and exceed those expectations. But more importantly, I would like to just connect with them. Unless, especially being an offensive lineman, because it's not your stat-driven position. It's not a position that people that don't necessarily know football pay attention to, right? But it is a position where if you're not very, very tight-knit with that group, it's very noticeable. You are a family within the family.
Yeah.
And to this day, that still lingers with me because all my closest buddies, not saying anything against my other teammates because I love them all, but some of my closest buddies, like you said, Amari, is Kyle Knapp, right? John Miller. We share a bond that unless if you've gone through the trenches, like they say, it's hard to really relate to.
Yeah, no, and 100%. And you got a lot of good guys in that group. What's your final question for me?
What's your honest prediction of how our boys do this year?
I think Kyle McCord asked me this question.
Yep.
And I said 7-5 I'm comfortable with, but I hope that they could do better. I would like to believe that they could get to more, but it's a very tough road schedule. But
Yep.
I said 7-5 is where I'm leaning at the moment.
Yeah, obviously I want to sit here and be like, oh, we're gonna win 9-10 games, especially when those are your guys, regardless, you know.
Yeah.
I would agree. I would think based off their schedule, having an honest opinion, I would not disagree with that.
Yeah. It's got a tough schedule. At SMU, Tennessee, neutral to start the season, at Notre Dame, at Miami, at Clemson. My question back to you, final question here, Seamus. You and I so I'm going to do a ride along. Okay? I'm going to do a ride along. We can go to any city in the world. So like you're a cop, but you could be a cop in any city. What city would you take me on for a ride along, and what would you want me to experience? Like if I had 24 hours to be a cop.
Oh, you got to go to the best city in the world, in New York City.
Okay.
I would down there, and more. I would just say the community engagement, right? It's being able to. That's why a lot of it transitions right to life. Being able to be dependable, right? Available.
Yeah.
Like we've always said, the best ability to have is availability, right? That's life, that's sports, right? That's career wise, especially with what you do. Like if you've been a huge advocate for us local athletes, college athletes, professional athletes, and without your availability, right? The impact that you've had on us wouldn't have been as heartwarming, right? And I think that transitions to any part of your life, especially professionally. Having that engagement and seeing through a different lens, right? As to how you engage with the community. For me personally, professionally, and through my collegiate career, I think that would essentially it would. I wouldn't say it would change views, right, of someone, but it would also make people or individuals in the community have a better understanding.
Yeah, I think it's important to, if you want to know your community, then you have to know your community.
Yep.
If you got to get out of the ivory tower. And I don't own an ivory tower. I will never own an ivory tower. If someone on my property built an ivory tower, I would knock it down. So, I think for me, I want to be with the people. And Isaac and I, when we go to the spring game, right, I get my credential. All the media is sitting up in the press box. Where do Isaac and I sit? We sit on the side. We sit a few rows up from the sideline amongst all the fans because we want to experience it with the community. We want to know what they're thinking, what they're saying, what they're feeling. And we don't think we're any better than them because we're not. So, I think for me, I could definitely appreciate if you want to know the community, then you got to know the community.
Yep.
And you can't fake care, like you said. So with that being said, Seamus Shanley, it always goes by too fast. We will do it again. We owe each other dinner. I will push for that, and we will do that. Seamus Shanley here, Syracuse offensive line alum, speaking on the greatest things in life that go far beyond sports, but sports can help be a teacher of. Thank you, Seamus, for your kind words. Thank you for your family, and thank you for your love and support, man, because I don't know where the heck I would be without it. So thank you.
Yeah, likewise, my friend. It truly means a lot.
I'll talk with you soon, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, take care. We'll take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Want to thank Seamus and his family for being a part of the broadcast and for being a part of the family here on Wake Up Call. And they are our top dogs of the week. We'll be back right after this to wrap up a week of broadcasts on Wake Up Call. Believe it or not, we're already to the end of the week. Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McInerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Bryan and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Bryan and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Bryan's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Here is a special message from Brian Bruno, owner of Servomation Refreshments Incorporated.
I grew up in the family business, had the experience of working for a national food service company with thousands of employees, and as much as I enjoyed the experience I had, there's something about, owning my own company and being able to change the things I saw wrong with the industry firsthand, which is why I moved back to my hometown in Canastota, New York to launch Servomation. It was back in 2007. When we first started the business in 2007, really you didn't find any machines with credit card readers. There was a lack of variety in machines. You got stuck with basically whatever the vending company wanted to sell that day. There's a lot of inefficiencies in the business, and those were all things that we saw as opportunities, both from a customer level to improve and from an operating level to be more efficient. We've really been at the forefront of introducing retail technology into our space. We were doing self-checkout back in 2009 before it really became a national phenomenon. The whole point of it isn't to just improve the customer experience. It's to make it feel more like a retail environment where people don't have to be afraid of what they're buying behind glass. They don't have to be afraid of not being able to see the ingredients of the packages. It was an easy transaction from that standpoint. If we were to reinvent something, we wanted to make sure what we were making looked and felt more like a deli and not like something that you would traditionally see in a vending machine. I was tired of hearing for years the customers say the wheel of death because the vending machine would circle around with the same tuna salad in it. What we wanted to do was it really changed the perception of that food. So allowing customers to touch it, allowing customers to feel the weight of it, allowing customers to see the freshness of it, and also the variety of it really helps them change the perception and ultimately the value of what we bring to them. The point of differentiation you have to make is either in value or the quality. And I think on both of those fronts, Servamation has really, in large part, changed that value system for employees. So they no longer have to worry about bringing their food from home or having to leave their desk during the day and rush out to get back in time for their break to end. We're bringing something that they can count on in their break room every day, and they know it's going to be there, they know it's going to be fresh, and they don't have to worry about it being sold out or something that they don't enjoy. We've also heavily invested in flavored water machine, so you can get a glass of water with a fresh piece of fruit in it, along with bean to cup coffee machine. So there's not a day that goes by we're not surprised when we get customers that call us and say, we didn't know you could do all this. We're really lucky to have a strong group of dedicated employees. Most of our employees have been with us since inception. They're family to us, and people like doing business with people they like and trust. And I think the same thing goes for employees. And in a day and an age where there's a lot of corporations that just look at an employee as a number and don't get to know them, that's just not the way I was raised or how I like to do business. So we're a little old-fashioned. We like getting close to our employees. We like knowing how we can help them. We like knowing how we can improve their lives, adjust their schedules, whatever it may be to help improve their quality of life. And we think in the end that makes for a happier employee. We're fortunate enough to have really grown over the last several years, and from Pennsylvania to Massachusetts to Connecticut, we really do have a strong connection, even though we're not in the rooms every day with these employees. There's not one single employee that we feel like we don't know, and certainly we know they can call us at any time, and they're definitely treated as family to us. I wake up every single day really excited to surprise our customers in a good way. The one thing I can tell you is I think that every one of our employees and every one of our customers will continue to be at the forefront of every decision we make.
Find out how Servomation can help you and your business by going to servomation.com. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there, and of course you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100, and also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to K-9 Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see K-9 Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call K-9 Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9Campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9Campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to K-9 Campground.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. You could find everything you need at GG Cards and Breaks. If you've never collected before, you could go there and find singles, graded cards, packs, boxes, as well as one-touch cases, all different size top loaders to protect your cards, sleeves, binders, and more, including showcases and boxes to put your cards in. So you can walk in there having never collected a card in your life and walk out like you're a seasoned vet. That's GG Cards and Breaks. They know what to do. They know how to help us. They know how to be there for us. They know how to keep us big kids. GG Cards and Breaks. It is such a wonderful place to be, a wonderful place to go, and they have reached so many people in the community. Let them reach you today. Let them know that DT sent you and go to 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, and on Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, thanks for tuning in on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.podbean.com, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time worldwide. And, of course, for being with us on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. Search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. Of course, visit the Brooklyn Pickle down in North Carolina. From New York to North Carolina, down in Southern Pines on 1788 Old Morganton Road. In Southern Pines, North Carolina, down the road from Pinehurst Golf Course, you will find the Brooklyn Pickle. Go and see them today in Southern Pines. And, of course, visit our team of partners in Central and Upstate New York, Great Lakes, Honda City, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, Avicoli's, as well as Servomation, Mother's Cupboard, Chick-fil-A Cicero, K-9 Kamp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, and Brian's Landing. Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Lemoyne College Dolphins, Bryan and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse at Binghamton University Bearcats. Find the Dolphins during Dolphin Time Wednesdays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Find the Bearcats during Bearcat Time Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. And you can find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell. Find our Lemoyne playlist of over 200 episodes, our Bryan and Stratton playlist, the BSC Syracuse playlist of over 100 episodes, and our Binghamton playlist, which has definitely sprang up. They're the youngest partner that we've had, and there's a ton of videos already up there for Binghamton University. You can also find all three schools by going to wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com, Syracuse.bscbobcats.com, and BinghamtonBearcats.com. For now, from the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, God bless, no stress, do your best. Have a beautiful day, forgive one another, be there for each other, see the other side of the argument, and for the love of goodness, if you have something good in your life, don't let it go. Life is precious.